Welcome to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here I got my other co-host.
Yeah, it's Spectre.
Yeah, what is up, Spectre? How you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So, you and I reviewed together this amazing game called Ghost of Tsushima by Sucker Punch, exclusively on the PS4. PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean, we gave it a rather glowing review. I mean, it just was, just incredibly impressive. I mean, and really for me, kind of took me aback. It was by surprise. I was expecting to like it. I just wasn't expecting to love it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure maybe you had a different kind of like idea going into it, but for me, I was just like, well, you know, I like Sucker Punch games. I mean, they're pretty good. I wouldn't call them like classics. I mean, I enjoyed Infamous and everything, and but so I was expecting a similar caliber experience to that, and I got something that was head and shoulders above that. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
I mean, for me with Ghost of Tsushima, I was very much looking forward to it, but it wasn't because of it was because Sucker Punch was the developer behind it. I love that studio. I love the Infamous franchise. I love the Sly Cooper franchise. And so when they were like, "We're doing a samurai game," I'm like, "Oh crap! This is gonna be awesome." But I will say, like, if you told me that I would prefer, like, which game was better, Last of Us Part 2 or Ghost of Tsushima, I would have said Last of Us Part 2 before they both came out. That's what I would have predicted, but no, it's the reverse. It's the reverse. Mind you, I personally love Last of Us Part 2. I know you and I differ on that. We've talked about that in the past, but Ghost of Tsushima is a phenomenal game, and like if you haven't seen our review, go see our review, because we talk about narrative, gameplay, the style, and everything about that. We're going to be going really in depth on this episode of Dualshock'd. That's what this is for, but we kind of touch on it in the review. But what a phenomenal game Ghost of Tsushima was. Like, it was amazing. I was playing it, and I was loving every single second of it. It was phenomenal. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I echo that. I mean, it just really, like I said, just such a pleasure to play. I mean, and even like we said in the review, just a pleasure just to look at. I mean, it was such a gorgeous game. I'd say it sets. I know you disagree, but I think it was easily one of the best looking games on the PlayStation 4, if not the best. I think you kind of said that you're more partial to like Last of Us Part 2 as like a contender for that, but for me, it just fantastic. I mean, just a gorgeous graphics. I mean, you could pause at any moment in that game and enter photo mode and take a screenshot, and that would be like a great wallpaper. It's just really just gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous game. Fun to play, pleasure to play, and even the story. That's what really surprised me too. And I kind of said that in the review too. That the story caught me off guard too. I wasn't expecting to enjoy the story too. That really was a surprise as well.
I mean, like, when it comes to the graphics, you are not wrong that like the graphics of that game is absolutely superb, and it's amazing. I think it's just based upon your perspective. Like, if I was like, what is the most realistic looking game when it comes to its graphics and how, like the grass and, everything around it, I would say Last of Us Part 2. But what makes Ghost of Tsushima so special, and why I can see from your opinion why you're saying it's the best looking game on the console, it's because of its style. It's because of when you look at the game, it has this almost like calligraphy to it. Like it's very stylized, and that's another reason why I love it. Like if we were like, oh, does every blade of grass look like a blade of grass? Yeah, but like it's you can't see like the texture of it and stuff, and that's going into extreme detail. But like the game is beautiful. The game is absolutely gorgeous, but I think it's more because of its style more than trying to look realistic. That's my opinion of the graphics, and we'll get into that more in a little bit. But why don't we go ahead and kind of get into the nitty gritty of this game with the narrative, which is what I believe you and I absolutely love in this game.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I was expecting when I went into this, I was really expecting a serviceable narrative that would, that would tell a story, give us a loose framework for why we're, doing what we're doing, and why we're going into these different camps and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
that was about it. But really, I was surprisingly drawn to the characters. I wasn't expecting that. I talked about that a little bit in the review, but I mean, just the not just to Jin, but also your band of companions that you have as well too. I mean, you really get to know these characters and actually like them, and they're not. I liked how they weren't, and really in no case were they one dimensional. They weren't just these flawless, um, you know, morally pure or morally evil characters. They felt like real people. They felt like
yeah.
people that were in it for a variety of reasons, whether that was what was her name, Miss Masato or whatever, Masako, for revenge quest, avenging her family's death.
Yep.
The quest. God, I'm really fucking. I have trouble remembering the names now.
There was I believe it,
and that's not because they're not memorable. It's just because it's kind of. It's hard to remember Japanese names. I'm not like an anime watcher. I just in general, it's hard for me to remember. I think people have that that trouble definitely. So, but I mean, yeah, Yuna's story, where it was very personal, stakes to her, and she was doing it for her brother, and she didn't really want to be involved in the fight and everything. I mean, that was like I said, every character had this kind of it felt real. Is what I'm trying to say.
So
it felt like they weren't just one-dimensional heroes.
Yeah, so let's go through the characters. So like you have the side characters, Masako, who pretty much her entire family was killed, and she wants revenge on the deaths of all of her family. You have Yuna, who is a thief. She's the one who saves you after the first battle, where pretty much all of the samurai are killed by the Mongols and by their leader Khotan Khan. And she's the one who saves you, Yuna. Yuna also has a brother named Taka, who is pretty much a blacksmith, and he has been taken in. You save him later in the game. You have Ishikawa, who pretty much you find out through his side quest storyline that his apprentice has turned on him and has joined the Mongols. You have Norio, who is a kind of like a monk, but he's like a battle monk, where he's a monk, but he can fight through what he studies and everything, and so on and so forth. Just a few of the side characters, and there's other side characters, but I kind of wanted to go kind of remind you of who they were. But for the side characters, you had side quest storylines for Masako, for Yuna, for Ishikawa, and Norio, and they all were surprisingly very good. I absolutely loved them.
And like I said, I think they had depth to them because they weren't all these these perfect characters. Even like Nario, for example. I mean, he you think he'd be kind of the purest one because he's this monk and this kind of warrior monk, but even he kind of has this moment of where these moments where he loses control,
Yeah.
and it's these type of things that make a character interesting, is when they're not just a one-dimensional cardboard cutout. They actually have some depth to them. I mean, I like I said, I thought they were all handled really well. I think my personal favorite is probably Sensei Ishikawa's
Ooh, okay.
storyline. That was kind of my personal favorite. I don't know, I just kind of related to him, and it was kind of, I like how in a way Jin kind of became sort of the you're kind of become, this interesting relationship with him where you're kind of this his apprentice, and you're it didn't end, the story didn't, it kind of started off as sort of this like a simple kind of revenge thing, but it kind of blossomed into something more, and
Yeah.
I like the way, kind of how the resolution to that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that wasn't my favorite. Actually, mine was Masiko's. Masako and the I believe it was Jin's caretaker after Jin Sakai's father dies.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Um, I'm just
Like I said, I'm blanking on the names a little bit. And that, I think it's just part of them being Japanese names. They're a little bit, we're not used to hearing them, so it's just a little bit more challenging for us.
I believe it was Yuriko. I believe.
That sounds right. Yeah. Yeah. So
Because the quest line I'm talking about is you find out who, like, I believe it's Yuriko. I'm gonna just double check because I want to be correct while I'm talking about this. But pretty much there's a quest line that you find out that you can get poison. You can get these like poison darts and stuff, and the person who knows how to make them is, I believe, Yuriko. She was your caretaker. And I'm just gonna quickly double check. There we go. Yuriko. Is this? Yes, it is Yuriko. Okay, there we go. Yuriko is your caretaker after your Jin Sakai's father dies. And later in the game, through the story, you find out you can make poison. But in order to get it, you have to speak to her. And it's a consistent storyline. Like, every time you do her quest, at the end of the quest, she's at a spot, and it picks up right from there. So if you wanted to pick up that story quest line, you could just start right there. I think that one was beautiful because you're with her, and you're finding out more about Jin Sakai's history, about, like, how much Yuriko looks after Lord Sakai, and she's doing things that against her code because, like, Jin asks her to make a hallucination dart. Then you get that as a gameplay mechanic in the game, and she goes like, "Oh, like she was like she didn't want to. She thought it was like unheard of or like morally wrong, but because of that, she cares for Jin Sakai, and that she's like, what, like, and Jin says, like, he's doing this to stop the Mongols. That's like, Jin is like, I will do what I need to do, and I'll even break my code so that way we can get rid of the Mongol invasion. And you go through these like storylines, and you're getting new poison darts and whatever, and it ends with like her kind of just remembering, like, she's kind of like losing her mind as like you go through the quest line, because she's old. She's like Alzheimer's, whatever. And near the end, she just sees him as Jin's dad. Like, she doesn't see Jin.
I wouldn't say she's losing her mind. I think it's more she's succumbing to dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yeah, that's what I. But that no,
that'd be a more sensitive way to say that.
Sorry, but no. But like she's like, yeah, she's like she's losing to dementia. She like Alzheimer's, like that kind of thing. Like, she's not literally losing her mind. It's just that she can't remember much. Her memory is being lost. And near the end, she sees Jin as not as Jin Sakai, but as Jin's father, and like
Yeah, she confuses them together,
and then
and
she
and
dies.
yeah, what I liked about that quest is one of the game's weaknesses, I guess you could say, is that a lot of the quests devolve into they kind of become the gameplay becomes sort of predictable, where it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna, this quest is it's gonna somehow involve the Mongols or a pack of bandits, and my
Yeah,
job is basically I resolve this quest by going there and slaughtering them and moving on. And that's okay, because I mean, like I said, the core gameplay is very fun. It's
yeah,
very addicting. I never was like, oh, I gotta go do this now. It's like a
yeah.
chore.
Hmm.
It was more so just like, that's just the typical resolution for a quest. So what was nice about this quest too is it offered us something a little bit different. There wasn't any combat in this quest. It was a story driven quest,
It was a lot of
and I think
stealth. It was a lot of stealth based around this. There was combat,
I
but a lot of it was stealth.
no, like for the whole last quest, there's no part of the quest. There's no combat. Like the third part of the chain, I remember
Oh
that.
yeah.
There's no
Oh
there's no
yeah.
combat at all.
No, that one's
Uh,
beautiful. I love it.
yeah, and I think that's great. And I think maybe they were cautious about putting too many of those type of missions in the game, because maybe they thought it would be boring for the players. I don't know, but I just thought it was a very beautiful, poignant moment in the game, and
I think it was
uh,
more of a narrative choice. I don't think it was more of like, oh, we don't want our gamer to be bored. I think it was more of like it fits narratively with what's happening. In
Yeah,
my personal
I
opinion.
wish the only problem is the only criticism I could give for the game in this regard is that those type of stories were rare.
No, I
Most
get you.
story. I mean, it's kind of fitting. I mean, you're in the middle of you're embroiled in the middle of a war, an
Hmm.
invasion, so it makes sense that a lot of what you're doing is going to involve combat. But at the same time, it was nice to have something that was more story driven, that was more personal. It developed. Yuriko's character, but also developed Jin's character a lot too.
Yeah,
I
it
I, real,
did.
I really it was very touching. It was, it was this person that he's had this deep connection with, that basically
Hmm.
raised him as a surrogate mother, and it was a very touching story.
Um, but
I,
yeah.
I agree with you. I like the Ishikawa's line, just because it was I don't know, I just like the character. I think
Oh
he's
yeah.
just kind of an
No,
interesting character.
Ishikawa
But
Ishikawa's great. Mind you, I liked Yuna and Taka's buddy, the pretty much the guy who gives all of like who just gives alcohol. I can't remember his
oh
name.
yeah, I can't remember his name to save my life, but I know exactly who you're talking about, like Genshin or something like that.
Yeah,
But I know exactly who you're talking about, though.
he was
Yeah,
he was fun. Like because he had a few
some much needed comedic relief in the game as well too, which
and
is
like what's great is like he's trying to help Jin, but his thinking of helping like I think he accidentally like he gave mead or like he gave alcohol accidentally or something to the Mongols, which was like like Jin was like, why did you do that? And like so he's trying to become better, but because of like who he is. And like the end of the at the end of the chain, he tells Jin, you have to go into this barrel. If you want to get to that boat, you have to get into this barrel so that way I can send you over there so you can be hidden and get in. And Jin's like, no, I don't want to. And he's like, this is it. This is the only way. He's like, ah, and he goes, does it, and he's like, ah, screw you, man. I love it. I loved him. He was great. Um, but should we talk about that main storyline though? Because that's the
yeah.
meat.
We can kind of dive into the meat and potatoes then. Yeah.
So yeah, so because like and these side characters come in through the main storyline, but pretty much what happens is that you begin the game, and I love the starting of it. Like you start the game with Lord Shimura, who is your uncle, and yourself, Jin, pretty much starting the attack against the Mongol invasion. And you do this fantastic. It's like so cinematic. Like it sets it up, and like you see Koten Khan, like Lord Shimura sends Adachi to pretty much as a messenger to Koten Khan, who is the big bad, to pretty much like to tell him leave this place. And Koten Khan, he's drinking alcohol, and then I believe he was drinking it. I don't know, but whatever it was, he had it from a drinking cup, like almost like a goblet, threw it at Adachi, and then lit him on fire, just going like, yeah, screw you. And then you lead the invasion, you go downhill, and you go attack and all this kind of stuff.
And I think it was a great, fast, succinct way to kind of show the difference that the framing of the story, kind of these two different cultures clashing, where one, where and there is some verisimilitude to it as well too, where I get, this was kind of to at least some degree true to life. I mean, I wouldn't take this as like a, it's like incredibly historically accurate, but it's not without like any precedent,
Yeah.
But basically it showed this stark contrast between the Mongolians invaders that were pragmatic, and it was just really about numbers and winning, and it's not, there was no sense of real sense of honor. It was just about whatever, let's we're here to invade, we're here to bring this culture into submission, into our dominion. And for the Clan Sakai and the Japanese, it was very much about having a sense of honor and fair play, and more so like one-on-one fights and duels, and that was kind of an alien concept for the Mongol army. So it's a nice, fast way to set up that and frame that conflict, and that difference between these two cultures.
Yeah, and it also makes Koten Khan look horrifying. Like, because
it's a great way to introduce the character.
Because what happens is that, like, after that, so you that, and then all of a sudden a ballista hits you, and it just like wipes them out, and then you like Jin is trying to get up, and you see Koten Khan having Lord Shimura. You think that Koten Khan killed him, but he didn't. Because you get saved by Yuna. And like you wake up all healed up, like bandages and everything, and you kind of find out Yuna was the one who saved you. And the kind of the first act of the game is that you need to save Lord Shimura from Koten Khan. So what the first act does is that it kind of really first it solidifies on who Jin's character is. He is this very, as I said in our review, like lawful neutral character, where he's like code of the samurai, honor, that kind of thing, where you find out Yuna's a thief, and she's like, you need to stay hidden, you need to sneak around, and he's like, what? No, you go up and fight a dude. No, you fight with honor. You just go up to his face and go, fight me, and like all of that. And like you go through that.
Yeah, and it sets up this what else that this does too is it's in a way, you can almost say Jin is kind of becoming like the Mongolians throughout the story. At least that's kind of how the story kind of frames things.
Well, no, I don't think it's that he's becoming like the Mongolians. I think that's from the perspective of Lord Shimura. Like you're throwing away your honor, and we'll get there. But like pretty much what happens, like I love the tutorial because after you get saved, you have to sneak around, and then when you first find your katana, it does a time jump to the past where Lord Shimura is training you as a kid. You're like a teenager, an early teenager, and you're learning how to dodge and to attack and counter and all these things. So it's story based. I love that. That's one thing that I have found that Sony does a very good job with all of their exclusives, like with God of War. And like Horizon Zero Dawn, like the first part in Horizon Zero Dawn, when she's a child, that's just your tutorial, so you're learning all the world and how everything works and so on and so forth. This is what the game did, is that first like tutorial, and then like you fight Koten Khan, you lose, and then the game kind of opens up after that. So you through the time jump in the past, you see the relationship of how close Jin is to Lord Shimura. And that's kind of the goal of the game. And then you meet Norio, you go through the game and you find out, and you have to invade Koten Khan's castle, or the first section, so that way you can get Lord Shimura. But one of the good things that happens is that there's when like kind of one of the first few missions in the game, you have to invade a Mongol outpost, and Jin's like, and Yuna goes, "You won't be able to fight these dudes head to head. You will lose and you will die." And that was when Yuna gave him the knife and says, "You have to stealthily kill them." And he's like, "But that's against my code. That's like I can't." And like,
and I like that this this kind of replaces the traditional black and white moral conflict that we saw in the Infamous games, for example. So it's basically a choice between the kind of the honorable way of the samurai and the pragmatic fighting dirty kind of style of the thief or of the Mongolian in a way. It's kind of that tension and that conflict.
and go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, and Yuna convinces him to do it. Now, it's not out of malice or like, haha, you need to get rid of your samurai code. She's like, no, these Mongolians need to be gone, and any means necessary it's worth it. You need to do it in any way necessary, and that's why Jin goes, okay. And like you have another flashback where Lord Shimura, it's another training, like they are trying to hunt like a bear or deer or something, and Lord Shimura's talking.
And I like those. That's a clever way. I just want to point that out right away.
Yeah.
It's a very clever way to use a tutorial, because a tutorial in a lot of games doesn't feel organic. Most games, when you have a tutorial, it's like, okay, well, now you can
press this button, press X to jump, press circle to dodge. Like
they took this very mundane element of a video game and they turned it into a story element. And I think good games find a way to integrate a tutorial in that is actually meaningful, and it shows once again it helps to build this relationship and this bond with Lord Shimura, which is a key part of the story, is your relationship to him.
Yeah.
And Jin's relationship to him, I should say, and how that resolves. So it's a clever way, because if you remove that from the game, then it's like, well, these characters don't really seem like they're connected.
Yeah, yeah, and like what I love is that like as you progress through the game, Jin is starting to have like an attachment and attraction to Yuna, and it looks like Yuna feels the same way, and I like that. But it's never executed. Like they don't like kiss or anything like that. But there is very much like, I want to be with you, you want to be with me, but because of what has happened and what's happening with like what's happening in the game. In this time, it's not really possible, or at least not right now. But like what I love about this game, and again, like as I said, you said this is a fantastic way of tutorials being done. Sony does a lot of this with their more recent exclusives, so I'm really loving that. So good on Sony for doing that. But you start becoming the Ghost, which is like you are the stealthy assassin, and you go through the game, you're learning different ways. So you learn how to stealth assassinate and everything like that, and then you get to fight. You get to the castle, so it's like Yuna, Yuriko. I'm not Yuriko. Ishikawa and Masako are all going to invade the castle, and you're going to figure out a way to get Lord Shimura and all that kind of good stuff. And then you do, and then you continue the next part. So now Koten Khan has gone away, and you find out that he has turned your best friend, Jin's best friend, Yurizo, on you, because he is Jesus Christ. He
struggling a little bit.
It's Ryozu, who is a Ronin. There we go, a Ronin. Pretty much trained in the battle of the sword. And what's happening is like a mission earlier in the game. You are trying to help. You're trying to like get rid of the Mongols and everything, because him and his fellow Ronin are running out of food. But Koten Khan gets to him and goes, "If you work with me, I will give you everything you want." And he does. So you find out Ryozu has turned on you, and like he has betrayed you, and it's like the betrayal was amazing, and like you get into the kind of like samurai duel, and that fight is so good. Like I love the samurai duels in the game. I love it where it's like a boss
and
fight.
once again, another thing that kind of helps with the how should I say the characterization of Koten Khan as well too, because it shows that it's not just about it's about, it's like I said, there's a pragmatism to it. It's about you kind of doing some underhanded things. It's you know kind of dangling food over these people and saying join me, or you're mental starve, or join me, do this for it once again it kind of highlights the contrast between these two cultures and these two and these characters.
Yeah, so which is great. I love that fight, and then you save Lord Shimura, which opens up Act 2, which now you're like, okay, now we need to kill Koten Khan. We need to kill him, and you go through, and you're like kind of like you're gathering up your people to invade his castle. You're like, we're going to get rid of him, and while you're doing this, you're kind of becoming more of the ghost, and you're doing like you just kind of now start to lean into, and it's in gameplay too. Like as I said, I played more like a samurai, where I'm like, I just want to fight you head to head. I just want to like kill you. I don't want to try to stealth through this. I just want to fight you. But like you are now, while you play the game, you're opening up more stealthy, like ghost-like tactics. So you like smoke bombs and sticky bombs and all of these kind of things to help you through the game, through gameplay. And what happens is that you try to invade his castle, and like it's you and the army, and like it's really cool. Like you once you gather up everyone, you meet up with Lord Shimura and you invade the castle, and it's really well done. Like you have other NPCs running with you along with the side characters, but you come to find out that Taka has been abducted. He has been taken by Koten Khan, and then also you get knocked out. And so it's just you and Taka on posts, and Koten Khan shows up and he goes, either it's your life or Taka's life. And he asked Taka, like tell me, like he's like, where is your leader? Where are the rebels? Like, and Taka doesn't. Like he pretty much says screw you to Koten Khan, and he gets beheaded. And when that happened, I was like, ooh, I can't wait to kill the shit out of you. Like I was pissed. I was like, oh, I was just like Jin, where I was like, oh, I can't wait to kick the shit out of you. I was furious. So because what happens is that so you're left alone, you're left at the post, and then Yuna comes in to save you, and she's Yuna comes in or whatever, but she hasn't seen Taka's beheaded head yet. She hasn't seen it, but he gets released, and then all of a sudden here are all of the Mongols, and Jin is like, I'm going to kill you, he's pissed, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to end all of your lives right now. That was me holding the controller. Like, ooh, I can't wait to kick the shit out of all these horrible peons. I'm just going to kill them. And I was just doing all the different moves and using gadgets and all of these things. I'm going to kill all of you. And it was, and when Yuna shows up and meets up with you, and she sees Taka, it was heartbreaking. I teared up when Yuna saw Taka dead, because the game does a really good job of you meet Yuna, you save Taka from a Mongol outpost as part of the main mission, and then Taka gives you the grappling hook so you can go through longer jumps and stuff like that. And then Taka wants to become more like you. Like, he wants to defend his people. He wants to defend his family. So he's kind of following you. Like, he's following you around. And I really like that. I think I really like the where, and like, even Jin was like, you need to go back. What I'm going to do, you won't be able to keep up. And he's like, no, let me help. And so he's like, fine, I'll let you help. Do this. But by doing that, it cost him his own life. And that was really well. Oh, I loved it so much. And then what happens is that like in before Act 3, you betray Lord Shimura by poisoning the Mongols. By you stealthily sneak into their camp, you poison all of their drinks to like kill them all. And by doing,
I think the game presents it in a fairly balanced way.
yeah,
too. It wasn't just there was, you do this, sort of as a the ends justify the means. This is how we save the most lives, essentially.
yeah,
We lost all these people, in the skirmish to take over the that part of the castle, and if we keep pushing on like this, we're throwing more men at this, and they're gonna die. So that, I think that was kind of the framing there.
Yeah, because Lord Shimura was like, we're just gonna send the men in there and fight them until we can't no more. And Jin, knowing how the Mongols work by now, by like killing so many and learning the like how to stealthily do it and everything, he's like, no, this is like, we're going to lose. If we do this, we will lose. And he was right, because he found out they were going to bomb the bridge and then kill all of them. So like he does that, but by doing that, Lord Shimura goes, you have now betrayed me. You have betrayed this code of the samurai. You are unworthy. You are exiled, and now you are an enemy, and we will go after you. And god dang it, this game did another thing that made me tear up. So when you in the beginning, after you kind of escape with Yuna, you get to a stable to find a horse, and you get to choose whichever horse. There's like 2 to 3 choices, maybe 4 if you got the digital deluxe. I chose the golden horse because that was the digital deluxe, and then you get to name it. You get to name it like Sora, Kage, and something else. Can't remember. Nobu. There we go. And you get to name your horse, and the game goes, once you choose this name, this is the name, and this is your choices. This is permanent. And I'm like, okay, great. And so I chose Nobu. And you go through the game, and every time when you call your horse, and that's a normal thing, he goes like Nobu.
You develop this attachment.
Yeah, you would develop this attachment to it. So what happens is that when you escape, like, you get taken by Shimura and his people, and you have to escape because you're like, I have to get Kohen Khan. You escape, and you find your horse, and you get on your horse, and you start running. Some of Shimura's people are shot, like, were able to get your horse. But you just keep running. You just like keep going, and then the horse just like it just shows like the season changes and everything until the horse can't go anymore. And I'm like, it's so well done. It was almost like Shadow of Colossus when you
That's
lose.
kind of what it reminded me of.
Oh God,
I'm like, your horse, yeah.
Oh God, I cried. I'm like, oh no. Oh no! Oh man, that was so well done. And then, the final act is that Yuna, Norio, pretty much all the characters that you have done side quests for, show up and they're like, we're gonna help you fight. We're gonna help you fight Kohen Khan. We don't care about Lord Shen, we're gonna make sure this is done. And you go into the final fight. You fight Kohen Khan, which is really well done. You get into a duel with him and him alone. And then he sends a bunch of dudes to fight you and you beat them. Which was great. It was a really good set piece. I loved it. And there's a bunch of other parts to go on. But I want to talk about a little bit more about that ending. That final mission. The Tale of Lord Shimura. I love that final mission. I love that mission. So what happens is that you Jin kills Khotun Khan, and you kill him like horribly. Like you, he, like Khotun Khan is like, we will be remembered for this. No matter what you do, even if you kill me, I'll be remembered. And Jin says, no, like pretty much, no one will care what you did. No one will remember you for who you are, or whatever. And it's so well done. I love it. And he just kills him brutally. Um, and then you have gotten rid of the Mongol leader. And so then you get a message from Lord Shimura saying, meet me at where we always meet, which is like the training area from like the, when you like from the flashbacks. And it's at this like beautiful, cherry blossom tree and everything. So you go to that. And this is when like the Shogun, and you find out earlier in the game that before you betray Lord Shimura, he wants to adopt you as his son. And Jin would love that. Jin wants nothing more than to have that. But once he betrays him, he's like, this is going to happen. I need to save our people. And Lord Shimura goes, well, then screw you. I disown you. You are nothing to me. And so at the end, you find out that the Shogun pretty much has given Lord Shimura a choice. It's that either, I believe it's that he either steps down or he kills the ghost. Right? I think that was it.
Basically, yeah, and it's I think that was kind of the dichotomy that was set up, and it's I mean really the framing of it is so tragic, and it's kind of my favorite mission in the game in a lot of ways, because it's it's not like Lord Shimura shows up and finds you, and you meet and you just start this duel right away. You kind of have this exchange, kind of like this last day together, these last few hours together. It's kind of reminiscing, kind of, I mean, so you have to remember this is the man that raised Jin, and this is he basically is his father. Jin's father dies when he's very young, and Lord Shimura basically becomes his adopted father, and wanted to literally adopt him. And so it's this really tragic framing step. We what's coming. You kind of know what's going to happen. Even what that this is going to end in a conflict, because these two men have gone in such different directions in their lives, and in terms of this conflict, and just the framing of it all just is so well. And once again, it highlights just the beauty of the game in terms of its graphics too. I mean, you have this final battle at this grave site, and it's just everything culminates together. The graphics, the story, and even the duel mechanics were really fun too. It felt like a real fight in a lot of ways. So it's but yeah, I guess before we get so you have this fight, I guess I'm curious, what did you choose to do?
I just kind of
there's a choice that happens at the end of this fight, the last choice to make in the game.
No, I know, but first, before I do that, I want to set up the picture. So what happens is that you meet up with him, and you get the exposition of what is going to happen now that Khotun's gone, and you help. You find like a villager's cart is stuck, and you and Lord Shimura help him off his cart, and then you go to like the cemetery, and pretty much before it, both of you are going to write a haiku of like your final words. This is your final words before you fight. So, and you like in the game, when you make haikus, you are making choices of what to say, which is amazing. So it's different, and it's both different setting pieces. It's beautiful. I love how it's done. And then after that, it does like the famous like samurai like set up duel fight, and then you duel him. You fight him and duel him, and then you beat him, and then it comes down to a choice. Just kind of like in the Infamous games, but instead of like Carmel, where like throughout the game, whatever, if you chose light or dark, that dictates your ending. It's just, nope, this mission dictates your ending. So there's two options. Either you can kill Lord Shimura or spare him. I spared him. I let him live. That was my choice. That's what I did. So
Okay, that's
and
interesting.
and
I
and
go ahead. Go ahead.
so I chose to spare him because I was like, because the way of the samurai, he goes, kill me, I have lost, I deserve to die, kill me. And I was like, and like Jin goes, no, I will not kill you. Like, that was my choice. In the choice, he goes, I will not kill you, I will not do that. I think the way this code is stupid because you do not deserve to die. You are a good man and you do not deserve to die at all. And then Jin walks away. He just leaves and let him there. And then as he walks away, you hear Lord Shimura just yelling at him, going, I will hunt you down. I will find you. I will hunt you down and end you. And you will never be able to stop running ever. And like he says, okay, so be it. And he takes the ghost mask and puts it on and leaves. And then it fade, it cuts to credits and everything, and I'm just tearing up at this because I'm just like, oh my god, just like, this is my father figure, and he's like, screw you, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to hunt you down till the end of my days and kill you. I make it my life's mission to kill you. And this is your father figure. This is the guy who trained you. This is the guy who raised you. And I'm just like, oh my god. And in my opinion, I think that's the canon ending. I think if they do Ghost of Tsushima 2, that is the end. That is the ending they choose, and it's gonna go from there. Because there's more. There can be far more done with that ending than I believe the ending that you chose. I think you're about to go into it, but that's my opinion.
I disagree. I fundamentally saw it as a different. Maybe I don't disagree that might be seen as the canon ending because it's one more character that's around and it's there's more you can do with Lord Shimura than as part of the story. Then, so I could see it from that like a storytelling angle,
And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
But I think in terms of being true to the character, I guess the way I saw Jin is that he was not. He does the things that he does because fundamentally he wants he wants to do what's right. Why does he poison the Mongolians? Why does he kind of take on this? Do these things that are considered to be dishonorable and against the samurai code. He doesn't do this because he rejects the samurai code. He does this because he wants to do whatever it takes to save Tsushima.
Yeah, it's the means justify the end.
Yeah, well, here let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
So he wants to save the island. So I don't see it as he would reject he wants to reject or insult his uncle. I think the real tragedy is that he's his uncle and they still love each other. They're still a family.
Yeah.
But because of they walk these different paths, they can never it's irreconcilable. So I chose to kill Lord Shimura, and which is the way I see it in kind of the eyes of kind of the samurai code. This is actually what Lord Shimura wants.
Yeah,
he does, because he doesn't want to kill you. He really doesn't want to kill you. He you're both tearing up at the end. He does not want to kill Jin. This is someone that was his he sees as his son basically. So in a weird way, it's maybe it's kind of weird for us to think this way. In a weird way, the kind of the last act to honor him was to kill him, because he had no choice. If he didn't kill Jin, then he would be dishonored. He would this would he would be basically no different than Jin. He'd be in his eyes, he'd be falling away from this code that he's dedicated his life to.
Yeah.
So by Jin killing him, it's sort of like a last final show of respect to him in a weird way.
Yeah.
Ironically, and you can get that sense too in the final cutscene too, because Lord Shimura basically said, he says, they kind of embrace at the end. He says, "I'll see you in the afterlife," and and it's this very tender, beautiful moment, and you could tell this is what he really wanted. He wanted Jin to kill him, this reconciles things with his code, and this is
Hmm.
it kind of shows in a way it's a kind of one last way of showing it's showing him that Jin has not it's not necessarily that Jin has completely fallen away from his code or his upbringing. It's that Jin was just genuinely doing what he believed to be right. It's not that he's rejected things and become um, this different man essentially. So I thought that was the in my interpretation of Jin as a
Hmm.
character, I felt that was the best course of action, is to fulfill Lord Shimura's wish and kill him. I thought it was a beautiful ending, one of the most beautiful endings to a game I've seen.
What's best about both of these endings is that, because like I did I spared him, and then I went back to do the that other do the other ending, and both of them work. It's not like one's better than the other. I think they both work. It's just when we're talking about sequels, like which one leads to. It's like booking. It's like future. It's like fantasy booking. It's like what would give you more to do in the next game. And if I'm fantasy booking, it would be like you spare him because now you have created a new big bad, which is Lord Chimera, and now he's the big bad coming after you. But with like I think it's all about perspective, because to me the reason why I spared him also is like I'm like, one, I don't want to kill him because like Lord Shimura is one, a great character in the game, like he's fantastic, and two, while you play throughout the game, even Jin is going like, why are you doing this, like why is like like everything that he's learned about the code of the samurai, everything that's happening around him doesn't match. And he's like, what? I don't. Why? And he's kind of learning because he's always kind of had that tunnel vision, like of like the code of the samurai. And he's like, because of what has happened, he's kind of had to open his mind. And it's more like throughout the game, he's like, oh, but this is the tactical way. This is better. Why would I do this? Yeah, the code of the samurai says this. I should do this, but this is better. This is how we save more people. This is like people don't deserve to die. Like he is like this lawful, like has that lawful neutral, and like has and as you go throughout the game, like almost maybe a bit lawful chaotic, but I think lawful neutral fits. But like to me personally, like both of these endings work. I think it's just your perspective in what you think is the ending that makes sense. And to me, it was to spare Lord Shimura. It's to not kill him. It's to, I don't want to kill you. Yes, you want to die because the code of the samurai is everything to you. But you know what matters more than your code? You. You matter more to me, Lord Shimura. I will not kill you. Your life means more to me than your code. And that's why like I enjoyed the spare ending instead of the kill ending. But that's me.
And I think both. I agree. I think both work, and I think you can make an argument for either one. I think. I felt for me personally, after we kind of watching both of them, I think the kill ending is the if this was like a, let's say if this was like a movie, I think that would kind of be like
Yeah.
the canon ending. But I think as a movie, that's what it would be. As a video game, probably the spare ending, because like you said, it kind of opens up more possibilities for a sequel.
I mean, honestly, if it was a movie, I would still think the spare, because like you set up for sequel. If that's what your plan is, you know.
Yeah, I
Like
don't I don't think everything needs a sequel, but
no, I get you, but like this game sold a ton. There is going to be a sequel. Like Ghost of Tsushima for Sucker Punch is Horizon Zero Dawn for Gorilla. Like it just brought new life into Sucker Punch as a studio.
yeah,
Um,
I think that's an apt comparison, because I think it kind of represents a point where now it's like, okay, now we have to shift our focus to this, because this is um this is what we're it's kind of our new success
Yeah,
essentially. So yeah, they're shifting to that
and
away from their older franchises.
And I will say, like, even when I played Infamous, like Infamous 1 and 2, and I believe even Second Son, like, because you have two different endings. The bad ones, I was like, it just doesn't fit. Where the good endings was like, yeah, this feels right. Where this, I'm like, you could go either way. So they did a very good job with that. We have spent a lot of time on the story, and I think this was a very well done story, and I think it was worth it. And mind you, it's an open world game. But let's talk about that gameplay. And mind you, like the gameplay is very well done. It's just the combat system is just amazing. And like the duel, and we've talked about it while we were talking about the story, like the duels.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it a little bit before. I mean, like I said, for me, what I liked about it is it kind of combines elements from other games in a way that feels like it does it better than those games. Like I mean, it had this. It kind of had this, this rhythm to combat that was similar in some ways to things like maybe the Batman Arkham series, or or like the Marvel Spider-Man game is a more recent example. It kind of had this rhythm to the combat where it was about timing as much as it was about it wasn't just like a button mash. It was more so about timing properly. I do like, kind of as I mentioned before, what I really liked about this game was that not the upgrades for the RPG system elements of the game, the upgrades for Jin, they felt like they had worth, like they had weight, like they actually had an impact on the gameplay, that they were worth getting. And I like that the way the enemies are doled out in the game, it does encourage you to switch stances and experiment with different kind of combat styles.
Yeah, that was I loved the stances. I loved that. Like where, and it wasn't like you had to go into a pause menu or whatever. It's like you held like R2 and then you used the D-pad to change into whatever one. And it's by changing your stances, you actually become more effective against what that stand is for. So if you have shield people and spear people and brutes, you actually have to change between who you're fighting to. So if you're fighting a brute, you want to change to stone stance, so that way you do more damage, so you're more effective against him. And then if you're fighting a shield person, like if you start attacking a shield person in stone stance, which is effective against brutes, you actually don't do as much damage as you would if you changed into water stance, which was the shield stance. So like it's so well done that you can just change these stances on the fly and all of that, along with you have a bow and as I talked about, like the gadget, like the smoke bomb and the sticky bomb and the poison darts and all of them, like you have so many different ways to fight enemies, whether stealthily or face to face. It's amazing. There's so many different ways that you can be effective in fighting these dudes. I love it. And yes, look, like I've seen other reviews for Ghost of Tsushima where like it's a negative where, oh, I've played this before. This is, it's like it has the, like you open up outposts, it opens up the map, like it declouds the map and stuff, just like in a Ubisoft game or whatever. And like, oh, it's an open world. It's your average open world game, and like you can do these and da 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 da. And like I've seen it, and apparently I've seen some people say it as a bad thing, and I'm like, no, why is this a bad thing? This is what I signed up for. Like this is why I'm here. Like, and like that's my favorite shtick. Like I love, like, Assassin's Creed is one of my favorite franchises. So like this is fine. I don't see a problem with this. And mind you, it's everything, all of the like collectibles and the gameplay mechanics and everything that you do in the game makes sense. It's not just there to pad out the game to like, oh, let's get 30 hours out of it. Like, no, it's there for a reason. It's not there just to make it stupidly long. Like, it's there for a reason. And I don't see a problem with a game that follows like similar tropes that other open world games use. I don't see a problem with that at all. And maybe it's just me, but like I absolutely loved it. This is what I signed up for. I loved it.
Yeah, no, it's there's nothing wrong with borrowing elements from other games or taking elements from other games and recontextualizing or reusing them in a different way, or recombining them in a different way. I mean, we saw that with Fallen Order as well too, where it took a lot of ideas, especially from
Sekiro.
Dark Souls, and yeah, it's from Sekiro, Dark Souls, and
Yeah.
kind of remixed them in a way that worked out pretty well. So I think, like I said, there's not much in this game that's incredibly original. It's just that the things that it does are done very, very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. It's just like I don't like that's why I'm like and we said it in our review is that there's not a problem with having these like this similar gameplay mechanics you've had in other games. But God, it's so much fun, and I think I love the when you go into ghost mode. I love that. Oh, it's so much fun when it goes black and white and you just kill 3 dudes instantly. It's like insta kills. Oh, I love it, and I loved it in the story where like when you first get it in the story, like there's a story reason on how you get it and whatever, and like everyone runs in fear from. Oh, it's so good. I love it. I love that freaking thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the gameplay. Let's talk about I think we're talking about graphics, but let's talk about the how almost like pretty much how much Sucker Punch appreciated the culture of that age. Like, my God, like the amount of detail they took to being like, we want this to represent the age of the samurai to as close of a T as possible. Yes, the story, like the specific, like Jin Sakai is not a real character, and all of that, but like we want to tell a story during that age, and it's phenomenal. Like it's so well done. Like they appreciate that culture so much. There's so much love and care that went into representing that time, that era.
Yeah, and I mean, it was kind of, it's been pointed out by I think even even people that are much more familiar with that history and that culture
Mm-hmm.
really saw a lot of passion, that they saw that Sucker Punch really, they were obviously, they did their homework, they did their research on this, and this came from a place of love and respect, really,
Yeah.
for this time period, and for this culture. I mean, it got a perfect score in Famitsu as well too, for its yeah. I mean, so obviously they felt that it was a the verisimilitude of it was on point enough.
And
It
this is a Western company. This is not a like a Square Enix or whatever. This is a Western company. Like they are made and they are based in America. Um, so yeah, like so it's so well done. It's so well done.
Yeah, and that's kind of the surprising element of it. I mean, obviously, I mean, I wouldn't treat this as a as like super historically accurate. But it's, I don't think it's meant to be. I think it's meant to be a
It's historical
entertaining.
fiction. It's historical fiction.
Yeah,
Sucker Punch Sucker Punch Studios, Sucker Punch Productions is in Bellevue, Washington. That's their home base. So like it's not meant to it's kind of like in like what Assassin's Creed, what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed 2, where they wanted it's very close to what Renaissance Italy during that time was. um it's just Sucker Punch has done such a phenomenal job of representing that time. And again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I just want to kind of like really put it into stone where like they did a phenomenal job of making one. When you played it, you felt like a samurai. You're like, oh god, I loved it. Like you felt like a samurai. It's the best samurai game. It's like, in my opinion, it's better than Neo, and like it's the best samurai game. You want to be a samurai, you play Ghost of Tsushima. This is the game that if you're like, I want to be a samurai, this is it. It's phenomenal. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I feel like we're repeating ourselves to some degree, but yeah, I can't emphasize enough how much fun this was, how well done this was. I can't wait. It just it leaves you wanting more. I can't wait for a follow up to this. I can't wait to see what they do next. I mean, it just was very, very well done. I would say this game is. And I'm someone that's very picky when it comes to exclusives and things like that. I don't usually like the vast majority of them. I would say this game in itself is an argument for a PlayStation 4.
And
it is and that's a very high, it's for me that's very tough to say, but because I'm in general kind of picky, but this game, along with a few select others, like God of War, for example, is an argument for this system, to own this system.
And it's the swan song of the PS4. Like this is the final exclusive, like only on PS4. For the system, it's a swan song until the PS5. So like, it's what a phenomenal game. Like I was like, oh, why don't you switch? Put Last of Us Part 2 with it, because Last of Us 1 was the swan song of the PS3. Last of Us Part 2 is going to be phenomenal, and then we all found out kind of like either you love it or you hate it with Last of Us Part 2. But this game, it's very much just like it's very much across the board. People love it. It's just some people like us, we adore it. We gave it a perfect 5 out of 5. And other places gave it a little bit lower, only because like it's a bit, it has the same repetitive, it's an open world. People say it's an open world, like an open world Ubisoft game, and I'm like, but like, no, there's more to it than that. I would if it felt very shallow, but it doesn't. Everything matters. Everything means something. So yeah, it's great. I know you love talking about. Do you want to talk about a little bit about the trophies?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing to bring up,
because this trophy list is really easy. It's not hard, and mind you, I've been finding out more and more that a lot of the more recent Sony exclusives, like PlayStation exclusives, they make their trophy lists challenging but not difficult to do. It doesn't take a long grind. Or like you can do it, like it's possible. You just have to like take time to do it.
Yeah, it's it's very straightforward. I mean, it's not it's I mean, nothing's missable. I mean, it's a very chill list, which I like those. I like those a lot.
Whoop! I lost you there. You there?
Whoop. Missable trophies, or at least very few.
Yeah.
Missable trophies are sort of like I almost want to compare them to multiplayer trophies, where it's kind of like they feel like an albatross. It's just like, I'm like, I have to focus my time on.
Yeah, you have to do you have to play the multiplayer in a weird way that you normally wouldn't, so that way you can get the trophy. Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah, and same with like missable trophies. You have to kind of save scum, or you have to like sit there with a guide the whole time to try to make sure you don't miss it. It kind of takes the fun out of it. It feels like if it takes the fun out of getting the trophy. No, the only exception I would say for multiplayer trophies is like if it's a game that's heavily based on multiplayer. Like obviously a game like Battlefield, for example, should have multiplayer trophies. I would argue, just because that's the main focus of the game.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, no, it's a very, very chill list. It's basically just play for the story, and collect all of the many collectibles. And, it didn't really have a lot of like, I kind of wish that I like it when they make like fun, like Easter eggy type of stuff with trophies. There wasn't a lot of that.
I mean, you don't need a lot of them. I think like, I like the one they had like a combat feat where they wanted you to like shove a dude off of a cliff and they die. That was fun. My favorite is they reference Sly Cooper. So like there is a you have to get one of the armor sets. I can't remember which one. But you have to get one of the armor sets, and I believe it's from one of the Mystic storylines where it's about Yamato. You get that armor set, and then you have to like find these different pieces. So it's like it's the holder for your katana and like the headband and stuff like that, and then you have to get the skin for it, and it's all based upon Sly Cooper. So you look like once you get it, you look like Sly Cooper. It's great. I love it. And actually, once I got the kind of the quote unquote Sly Cooper holder, like the holder for your katana, that became my main like almost the entire time. I loved it.
Yeah, it's I mean, I don't know. I can't really say a ton more on the trophies. I mean, you didn't have any trouble, if anything, did you?
No. It's pretty much in order to platinum it. It's that you finish the story, you do all the side quests, and then do all the outposts. And by doing that, it opens up the map. So like I finished the storyline, then I did all the outposts. So I could just open up the map entirely. And then I did all the side quests, and then once you open up the map entirely, it also allows you to find all of the different like fox dens and like the health pools and all that kind of stuff throughout the game. And then the other things that are not like on the map were the artifacts, where if you just choose like there's one of the armor sets. It's all based upon traversal, and you can in the map, you can have the guiding wind go to like, there's an artifact over here, and it finds the closest one. You just follow the wind until you get it. So you just did that for a bit, and then you don't even have to get all of them. It's just 20 of them. So it's like they did a good job by going like, you don't have to get all of them, because that would take forever. You just have to get these. Like, you have to get 20 of them. And there's, I believe, like 40. No, it's not a hard platinum at all. Just it takes you about like 30 35 hours in order to get the plat, and it's good. It's enjoyable. It takes a little bit of time. It's an open world game, but like I had no problem getting the plat. No.
Yeah, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. I'm not saying that a trophy list. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying a trophy list always has to be easy and just a breeze to go through.
I don't think this was easy though.
I like for me I like games that are somewhere in the middle, where they're not like crazy Dark Souls level hard, and they're or like really tedious or whatever. And somewhere between that and games that are just like you get all the trophies just basically just for like a Walking Dead or something, where you just get them just for playing the game.
Yeah.
Let's meet somewhere in the middle. Those are usually my something like I guess kind of my usual, like my most recent example of a game that felt like it was kind of right in the middle, that sweet spot, was the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, the Insane trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Where I was saying, where it wasn't too hard, but at the same time, you can't just sleepwalk your way through it. It's somewhere right in the middle, and it felt like it was that sweet spot.
I would say Crash 1 is the only one that I'm like, ugh, because they don't give you have to do it in like a ridiculous amount of time, and you don't have the speed boost power up. That's the only one I hate doing the time trials for that. This one though, this didn't feel easy. This is the sweet spot, in my opinion. This is the sweet spot. Games like this, where there are challenging ones you have to do. This is more of an open world game, so there's a lot more. It's more based upon being completionist. I really enjoyed this trophy list. I thought that this one hit the sweet spot, where it was like, this is not hard to do. It takes some time, and it is challenging, because there are a few specific ones that are based upon do these things. But like, it was like, I love this trophy list. This game, the trophy list, like everything about it was amazing. I don't know how much more I can heap upon praise upon Sucker Punching Ghost of Tsushima.
No, I gotcha.
But yeah, I think we have covered everything. We touched the story, we touched gameplay, we touched graphics, we talked about the style. I don't know if there's anything else.
No, I think that kind of covers everything.
Yeah, so yeah, again, we gave Ghost of Tsushima a 5 out of 5. Pretty much the best rating we can give one of our games, and I think the last game we gave a 5 out of 5 to was God of War. I believe that was the last game we gave a 5 out of 5 to back in
I
2018.
think you're right. Yeah,
Um,
which also was like I said, another game that this game and that game are I think combined a strong argument for a PlayStation 4, and that's it's for at least for me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Um, but yeah, no, we love this game. This game was phenomenal. Um, very well done. Again, thank you, Sucker Punch, and everything that you have done for this game. Very well done. This is such a phenomenal game, and I guess when we get closer to the end of the year of 2020, we will see if this game receives Game of the Year, which it is definitely a contender, in my opinion. So yeah,
I agree. I would say it's a very strong contender.
but yeah. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. YouTube.com/Brotherhood Geeks. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell everyone you know. Tell your buddies. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell people you don't know. All that kind of good stuff. We always appreciate it. And also, please, in the comments, let us know if you agree with anything that we have said. Is this your, game of the year? Are you, do you think this is, what we say is a 5 out of 5? We would love to hear what your opinions are, what you think about Ghost of Tsushima. But yeah, also, you can follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Brotherhood of Geeks. You can also follow us on Twitter at Dualshock'd BOG. That's the name of this PlayStation podcast, Dualshock'd BOG. And they can also follow us on Twitch when we stream at twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks. But yeah, I love this game. I absolutely adore this game. I love it. And what a swan song for the PlayStation 4.
Agreed, 100%. Just I mean, you couldn't ask for a better game to close it out here.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah. But I think that's about it. Alrighty, guys. Well then, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen.
And that's great. No, I'm Spectre.
Yeah! And as always, live to play, play together. We'll see you guys next time.